outrageous predictions. Ohio State plays Penn State on Saturday in its second top 3 matchup in its last 3 games, obviously losing the last one to Oregon 32-31. This one also on the road in Beaver Stadium. Noon game, though, so it's not a whiteout. I know Andrew wants the whiteout, but he's not going to get the whiteout this year.
Kind of got a whiteout. It's a one stripe, helmet stripe out. It's literally all white except for like 4 sections are going to be blue.
Yeah, but it doesn't hit the same when it's the middle of the day, not the nighttime. That was that was crazy to say. We're also going to get even crazier now with some outrageous predictions. Andrew, you're going to go first. What's your outrageous prediction?
Ohio State is going to have 1.9 yards per carry or fewer against Penn State. I think that they are going to very much struggle to run the football. I think that when you look at the offensive line issues, I think many people are going to talk about this going, well, how many sacks are they going to give up? Abdul Carter is going to kill whoever's their left tackle. We expect it to be Donovan Jackson, but we'll see. Oh, it's going to be so bad. You're going to have to chip, and what's going to happen with the pass rush, and Will Howard's going to get beat up. You can game plan around that. You can figure things out around that. The ball can come out of Will Howard's hand in a second and a half. You can make it snappy, and you can speed up the offense a little bit, right? Bubble screens, screen passes, things to keep Penn State a little bit on their heels in the passing attack. Where things can get real hairy is the run game. And we just heard 36 hours ago Ryan Day talk about wanting to establish the run game. And Chip Kelly talk about saying, this is the Big Ten. You need to win the rushing attack if you want to win the game. You need to win the rushing battle. I do not think that's going to happen, and I think Penn State is going to dominate Ohio State up front. We saw it when Josh Simmons was out against Oregon. We saw it against Nebraska, and now you are playing a defense that is pretty good. And I just have many questions about this offensive line. Like, if Donovan Jackson's at left tackle, you have a new left tackle. You could have a new left guard. You have a right guard who, maybe it's Tegra Shabola. It sounds like it's going to be, and then Cerville goes to left guard maybe, and then Donovan Jackson's at left tackle. You're moving a lot of pieces around, and I just don't have a lot of confidence in this offensive line. So 1.9 yards a carry for the entire team. That includes Will Howard. That includes the running backs. And I know that takes into account sacks, but I just do not think they're going to move the ball on the ground.
Andrew, continuing the theme of the week, that is negativity, 1.9 yards for an offense on the ground that has 2 of the 5 best running backs in college football. Also, just to the point of Ohio State's offensive line against Penn State's defensive line, obviously that's one of the matchups everybody's watching. Denied Dennis Sutton. Did not practice on Wednesday evening, according to some reporters out of Penn State. And so that's also a thing to watch. Yes, Abdul Carter is very, very good. But if you don't have the other guy on the opposite side, it does kind of allow Ohio State to scheme up some things to maybe take Abdul Carter out the game. But still, negativity coming from the right side over here. Negativity. Your left, my right, negativity. Stefan, what's your outrageous prediction?
So when I say it might not sound outrageous because anything we predict for Jeremiah Smith to do is usually not outrageous. I think he's going to have 10-plus receptions in this game. I think it's going to be a game where Ohio State's getting the ball out quick. I do agree with Andrew. I think the running game is not going to be at its best, and for that reason, I think we're going to be seeing some quick passes. I wouldn't be surprised if Jeremiah Smith had 10 catches and Emeka had another 7 and Carnell had 5. I think we're going to see a lot more passes, not necessarily an air raid type game, but just Ohio State looking to get the ball out quick, screens, slants, things of that nature, where I think Jeremiah Smith can be a weapon. I think you see him and you think downfield threat because of his size, but we saw against Western Michigan when he got a slant and took off, what was a 70-yard touchdown or something like that. He's really fast and quick too. It's why he's maybe the best receiver in the country, because he has a lot of skill. I know, shocking. So I think Ohio State's going to target him a ton. They kind of went away from him in the second half against Nebraska. Some of that resulted in the offensive line struggling. He's going to be a huge focal point for this offense against Penn State. 10-plus receptions. Jeremiah Smith has his biggest game of the season, which is saying something.
So 2 years ago, this is the game where Marvin Harrison Jr. arrived. We had kind of seen it coming into the Penn State game, but this was the game where it was like, oh, this dude might be one of the best receivers in the NFL in like 3 or 4 years. This was the game back in 2022 when it was really like Emeka Egbuka was not having his best day. Julian Fleming was not having his best day. Ohio State started off throwing a bunch of bubble screens that weren't working. Nothing was working offensively early on, so CJ just kept finding Marvin Harrison Jr. And guess what he had? He had 10 receptions that day for like 150 yards. All 10 receptions went for a first down. In fact, every reception Marvin Harrison Jr. ever had against Penn State in the 2 years he played against them all went for a first down. But it all started 2 years ago in Beaver Stadium when Marvin Harrison Jr. went from a guy where the Ohio State bubble knew he was pretty good to the entire world knew he was pretty good. And I think Jeremiah Smith might be a little expedited given what he was as a recruit and what he's already done. Obviously, he did some things in the Oregon game, the one-handed catches he's had. But this might be it. This might be the game where we leave this game and it's like, oh, this guy might be the best receiver in the NFL in like 5 years. That's very much on the table for Jeremiah Smith. I like that one as well. I like your negativity one too because it goes along with the theme. It's just you went positive, you went negative.
I said the positive thing because I think they won't be able to run the ball. So
No. Stick with yours because that's my point. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball on Saturday. It's because the offensive line struggles have shown up more in the run game than they have in the pass game. I don't think it's been as big of a deal, especially when you have a quarterback who can move the way Will Howard does. I'm not saying abandon the run game. I'm just saying it might just be a complementary thing to the passing game, similar to what we saw against Georgia back in the Peach game where it was just like, hey, this is it. We got to let CJ let his hair down and get to going. I think they might do the same thing with Will Howard. His career high in passing yards came last year in a loss to Texas in overtime where Kansas State was just like, Will, please, go do it. And I'm wondering if the same thing is on the table for Saturday for Will Howard, his first 350-yard passing game for him, because I think you're right. I think they are going to have to air it out. I don't know if I'm at 1.9, but the point you're making there is they're not going to be able to run the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. You don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. So they're going to have to find other ways to move the ball. And I think how they do that is they scheme it up enough so that Abdul Carter and if denied Dennis Sutton plays, they can't game wreck the game. But also Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, and Emeka Egbuka are involved so much heavily into this game. Those guys had 12 combined targets last week. That can't happen this week or you're going to lose this football game. So I think we see Will Howard air it out a little bit, whether it's in the pocket, whether it's on the move, whether it's bubble screens, however it looks. It's going to add up to at least 350 yards, his career high as a college football player. Those are outrageous predictions for Ohio State's top 5 matchup against Penn State on Saturday at noon. Get the text 614-350-3315, and we'll continue to have this conversation on Buckeye Talk, so go listen to that wherever you find podcasts. He's Andrew, the negative guy. He's Stefan, the positive guy through negativity, and I'm just Steven, who's negatively positive. Talk to you guys later.